Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind. And now, the Freedom Reporters.
You know, like in 1984, there's the inner party. And then it's like, well, how many people are in that? You know, how many people are really running the YouTube censorship operation? I know out of the Twitter files, they saw that there was about 80 FBI agents on staff patrolling all of Twitter. So yeah, so it's getting like the algorithm pings it, and then it goes to, you know, the dark version of Tyler, Lori, and Rick, and we quit playing ping pong and be like, yeah,
that's what I find the most concerning is the technology they're using to find the content that they want to ban. They clearly are not able to do that with human beings.
No,
there's just too much video. AI. So like, that's crazy technology.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That scares the living crap out of me.
Well, you know, I got ChatGPT open in this other tab over here, and I asked it, what's 5 interesting things to talk about on Maverick News tonight? That's the only way I have any good ideas, guys. But
really,
I mean, if that's available to the public,
I wouldn't even think of that.
If that's available to the public, no, I was joking. I was my dry humor. But if that's available to the public, what the hell's not available to the public? You know what I mean? You know that it's 10 times whatever that can do, at least.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I saw on Breaking Points the other day, they were talking about like one of the OGs in the AI at Google. He's like, this is going to be used for weapons. It's inevitable. And I think part of my brain knows that so much that I don't even like to think about it. Cognitive dissonance kicks in. The robot dogs from Black Mirror are going to chase us down one by one. And I just hope the Lord is real, that he can protect me from what the evil that is lurking, you know.
Well, I do believe the Lord is real, and he protected Vladimir Putin.
I do too. I have faith it'll be
Vladimir
okay.
Putin today from that drone strike at the Kremlin that could have killed him. Yeah.
Amen.
There is God.
Amen. That's.
If they had succeeded, imagine we would probably all be vaporized right now.
That's one thing I was going to ask you guys about, and I know you've talked about it already, probably ad nauseum, but I'm kind of new to it. I had to teach school all day, and then I had a meeting for teachers after school, and I haven't got to dig in and really see what happened like I wanted to. So
have you seen the video?
No, I haven't.
Video? Oh my gosh,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I saw it. I should have queued it up. I'm looking for it right now. Do you have a link or anything, Lori?
It's all over Twitter. You could just do a search for Kremlin.
Have you guys covered it already today on here?
Actually, just started to talk about it.
Yeah, we were just getting to it when you arrived.
Well, good. You can educate me.
Well, here's what happened. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. Drones, a couple of them, I think, struck the Kremlin, and there's video of it that's pretty breathtaking, where you can see a big fire on the dome, one of the domes of the Kremlin, which I believe, I'm told, was the residential quarters where Putin actually lives. And it just so happens, or we are told, that Putin was not at home when the drone struck. And it looks like they did a lot of damage to the building. There's a big fire there. So,
well, I wanted to watch RT because can you imagine what would happen if that happened here? If that hit the White House? Can you imagine the media?
Yeah, there's the video, Tyler. Look.
Wow.
There's several different angles of it. Some with the fire visible, some of the impact. I think this is the moment of impact.
That is, I'm scared that they were able to do it.
Technology we were just talking about, right?
Part of me thinks it would. I don't know. I think because they're so small. You know,
see the red dot that's following the drone right across.
There it is.
Wow,
that's Kremlin,
very
dude.
Specific.
You do not hit the Kremlin, but they did. Wow.
How? So that has to be American technology.
What kind of escalation do you think this will result in here? This is the good shot. I think the best angle. Yeah. Look
Watch
at that.
out. There it goes. Precision strike. Amazing.
Huh.
So they took the drone out before it could do the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say they shot it down.
Well, that's good.
But it still
Yeah,
did
you can tell there.
some damage.
No, it's definitely too close for comfort.
Yeah. They were trying to kill him.
But I mean, just imagine in your head, replace that image with the White House. Like what? Think of America's response to that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, we'd be bombing Moscow right now.
We'd be in
if they
nuclear
took
war,
our
probably.
White House. Yeah.
To
That's
protect
what-
our
that's
dear
what
Joe
I'm
Biden
afraid
and
of.
sweet Kamala Harris.
Honestly, I'd be terrified right now if anyone but Vladimir Putin was running the country. I mean,
Yeah.
we can count on Putin always being calm, having a steady hand, not overreacting.
Right.
He doesn't govern with his emotions. But he's pissed. He's pissed.
For
And
sure.
the response from the Duma and from a lot of, powerful people in the Russian military, they're saying this will not go unanswered. And some are calling for massive retaliations to just flatten Ukraine. Bomb it off the face of the earth.
Hey, what do they say? Can I curse on here?
Of course.
Fuck around and find out.
That's it.
That's what you did. I mean, what? Once again, what do you think would happen in America? What do you think would happen? It pains me. Like I said, I'm starting to go into my human side, and I thank God for Christianity because you get what I'm saying? Like the only thing these evil bastards respond to is the threat of their own skin being removed from their bodies. That's all they respond to, and it's terrifying. And
we just tried to kill the president of a country that's got more nuclear weapons than we do. How dumb was this?
We're being driven by psychopaths, sociopaths with just some sort of blood hatred of Slavic people.
Of all humanity, they're going to get us all killed if they don't stop this.
Yeah, I don't even think they're thinking about us. It's just, how do we kill Vladimir Putin by any means necessary?
Truly, Putin derangement syndrome.
It's beyond, it's beyond reason, far beyond reason.
And Tyler, look at Red Square. They're getting ready for the big Victory Day celebration, which is the biggest holiday in Russia every year, celebrating their victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. Mm-hmm. And it's a sacred, holy kind of holiday for the Russian people. So this was a powerful psychological weapon. This strike is meant to, not only make the Russians mad, but to strike fear into their hearts because millions gather on May 9th every year in Red Square, to say nothing of the military parade. And there's been a lot of chatter and talk lately about actually doing a strike on the Victory Day celebration itself. Can you imagine what Russia would do if we did that? I don't even want to think about it.
That sounds bad, Lori, but I really don't know how it could be worse than what you just showed me.
Right.
That's like a bomb going off over the top of the White House. It's as bad as you can get.
That's where the president lives.
Yeah.
That's his home.
It's as bad as you can
his
get.
Office and his home.
I don't know. It's God help us,
Heaven help us. And from what I'm hearing, maybe he'll reconsider, but Vladimir Putin is apparently going to take part in the Victory Day celebrations on May 9th, just like he always does. He's not afraid. He's not running and hiding. He's not changing his schedule. Victory Day always goes forward. And now more than ever, Russia feels that spirit once again of the Great Patriotic War. After this today, I'm sure their patriotism will only increase. And
I would imagine
the country's going to rally behind him like never before.
I'm surprised he's been this restrained. This isn't the first time they've struck targets inside the Russian border.
Yeah.
And now to do this, this is escalation that's off the scale.
It's off the scale.
Yeah.
Well, you know they know who did it too. I'm sure.
See, now that's why I was afraid for George Galloway's safety today, because he's in Berlin, and I'm afraid that they are going to strike back at those of us responsible nations who are behind this thing. And I see that our friend Jeff Norman's here, our Scott Ritter's producer. Hello, Jeff.
Jeff.
I'm glad that you're discussing such a cheerful topic.
At your command, Jeff.
Well, you got here just in the nick of time, because I've been, really eager to hear an update from Scott Ritter. I missed your show today. I know you had Scott on for Ask the Inspector, but I was on with George Galloway live at the exact same time. So I missed everything Scott said.
And by the way, it's very nice to meet you, Jeff. By the way.
Thank you, Rick. Nice to meet you too. Lori doesn't even introduce us.
I'm so bad at this stuff.
That's all right. We were just talking about this. You probably won't be surprised to hear. Scott was at dinner last night when one of his companions showed him on his phone that the Kremlin had just been attacked. So I'm like, oh, wow, what was that like?
Was he in Moscow? Where was he?
No, he's in, how do you pronounce, I'm going to mispronounce it, but at least let me read it to you. I put it in our promo today. I should remember. I'm such an idiot.
Spelling it's one thing, pronouncing it's quite another.
Here it is. Irkutsk. Irkutsk.
Irkutsk.
Anybody know how to say that? That's where he is.
Sounds like Irkutsk.
So his dining companion showed him on the phone that Kremlin had been attacked. And I'm like, well, what was the reaction? I mean, I can imagine when you're just looking at your phone and you see a headline like that, you don't really know the magnitude of it yet. Was there panic? And it's like, no, the Russians don't panic. So there'd be, like a bunch of drama queens in U.S. And if it happened here, of course, people would go crazy. They're like, they're just going to take care of business. Pretty much like what you were just saying.
Oh, they'd say it's another 9/11.
Yeah. That's my favorite story I've ever heard about Russians. And Matt Taibbi might have told it because he lived over there for a while. He said in an American bar fight, right? They'll be like, "Hold me back, bro! Hold me back! Hold on! I'll beat you within an inch, right?" And he said, in Russia, that never happens. In Russia, the guy just walks over calmly. You have no idea what he's going to do, and then he knocks you out.
Cool as a cucumber.
Cool as a cucumber. And that's the two different cultures,
Yeah.
It's very true.
But it is worrying, when we have talked about this in previous episodes, how drones are game changers. You don't need a lot of money, and you don't have to have the biggest bomb in the world to put on it to cause some damage if it hits its target. So I don't know. I just have to. The pessimist in me thinks there's going to be more of this wherever. I mean, there's nefarious characters all over the world.
Well, I can't wait to go back and watch today's episode of Ask the Inspector, because I really want to get Scott's analysis on what this means and how the Russians are going to respond. Can you give us kind of a brief recap of
well, he doesn't know exactly what they're going to do, but he's like very confident that they're going to respond. You don't do it's like what you guys were just saying. You nailed it. He says you don't do this and then expect that it's not going to be a retaliation.
Yeah.
And Zelensky denied it, and he's like, no, there's not.
Well, he's hiding in Finland.
Yeah. He also said he thinks that, and I'm like, I said to him what I just said to you about how, almost anybody can get a drone. He says, well, they're going to have to just develop new ways, because that's been the history of weaponry. Anytime a new weapon is invented and put into use, they develop ways to stop it. I just hope that happens at the right pace.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that Scott was not in Moscow and nowhere near the Kremlin. I'm glad he's fine.
And maybe you can explain why Scott is over there.
Yeah, he has a book out, Disarmament in the Time of Perestroika is what it's called here. There, they don't go for that perestroika jargon, so it has a different name. It means something like the disarmament race, I think, is how it loosely translates. And Scott is huge in Russia. He's like, the Beatles or something. They steal our podcast and other podcasts that Scott on. Millions of viewers. I'm not exaggerating.
He's like Elvis over there.
Yeah, right. And he said people are recognizing, even, obviously if you go to one of his events, you're a person who knows him, you expect him to be there. But he's encountering people on the street who didn't even necessarily know he was going to be there, and they all recognize him. And he's with his daughter, so that must be a kick.
Wow.
And they're doing a bunch of book events, Rick, that originally were going to be in very large venues before large crowds. But for security reasons, they've totally changed the plan. And now the audience is very, very controlled, small, and, everybody's being frisked and whatever. I don't know the exact precautions that they're taking.
Can't be too careful.
Yeah.
Tell him not to accept any statues, please.
Yeah, right. He doesn't seem that worried. I mean, one thing he's doing differently than what he said he was going to do, he said before he went that he would not say where he is until after he was there, until he's into the next city. But now suddenly he's not that worried. He's saying where he is. I'm not going to tell him to worry. I'm worried, but I'm not going to.
You only live once, right?
I'm not going to tell the world's foremost weapons inspector how worried he should be. I think he knows what the dangers are or aren't.
What kind of retaliation? What are the options here? I wouldn't think that Putin would want to attack the U.S. directly. He won't want that level of escalation. I would think he'll do something directed toward Ukraine, but what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not a military expert. I would assume it'll be Ukraine that gets hit.
Yeah.
That's my guess, too.
It would just escalate beyond the point that we wanted to if the U.S. was attacked.
Yes.
Just bomb them to rubble.
Scott keeps saying the Russians are the adults in the room. So what he means, they don't do stupid things. They don't push things further than necessary.
Yeah, it's not good to antagonize a 2-year-old with nuclear weapons, which is what our government is, more or less, at present.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.